What's up? Hey, we're back. We're later than usual, but that is okay. I got students and everything, and everybody always wants Friday night. You guys know what I mean? So we get later and later and later, but we are here now, and we are ready to work as soon as I get this last thing written. Okay, we're good. Okay, so we are back mixing the Afterwinter album, Paramnesia. We are getting super, super close. Very excited to finally have this thing done. So let's, because we're late, now we'll probably go a little bit later than normal tonight. I'm pretty much waiting on a, okay, you have to come home now text. So we will work right up until the moment that we have to go. We are currently in the middle of mixing the finale, the big track. So disc 2, the way this album is set up is that it's a long concept album. It's something like an hour and 40 minutes long. So we're fairly close to 2 hours. Disc 1 is made up of, I think, 10 tracks, maybe 11 now that I'm thinking of it. And then disc 2 is going to be about 6 tracks, but it's really one long song. So something like half an hour or so long song that makes up the entire second disc. And so we are now working on the second part. So we're in part 2. This part is called World Without Sin. And we are just getting started on it. So last time we spent most of the stream working on applying some fundamental mix changes that I made across all of them. So we had gone back and we were looking at the beginning again, the very first few songs. And we finished that. So off stream afterwards last time, I went ahead and completed applying those changes to the rest of the album. I even sent a kind of a first pass mix essentially of the entire first disc to the band. So we are getting closer and closer to a finished project here, which is super exciting. So now we're jumping back into the kind of meat and potatoes work of getting those first pass mixes done. So the first pass is done on the entire first disc. I've already done the first part of the big song. We are now just getting started on the second part. I've already routed it because I know how much any of you who have watched videos on this channel for a while before probably have seen me route on the Kissish stuff. It's just a whole lot of clicking. Finale, finally, Finn. Yes. So hey, we got 2 people, my dad and also Justin Pollitt, both on YouTube. Hello, hello. Keep in mind, I think we discovered last time that this program doesn't always notify me when you comment. So if by chance you throw a comment in and I don't acknowledge it or respond to it, I'm sorry. I fully intend to acknowledge every single comment. So let's take a look at what we got going on here. So we've already done the routing. We're basically ready to actually get into the work. Oh, awesome. There's also somebody here from Twitch. That's a new name I don't recognize. JetSweep30. How's it going, man? Good to see you. Hope you enjoy the content. We're here working on a band called Afterwinter, the debut album, Paramnesia. We're going to take a listen here through this track. Right now, I have everything muted except for the bass, the drums, and the rhythm guitars. So the first thing we're doing is just kind of listening for any sort of general changes we may need to make. I also like to go through the drums and look for any spot where Eli may have hit the 2 floor toms together. I'm not seeing any instances of that in this case. Just doing that quick sweep through. Yeah, not seeing any specific areas where he has hit both of those floor toms together. We got a couple that are close. Oh, here, we got some right at the end. So right now we've got both of these floor toms panned to the right. Yeah. And when he starts hitting both of them, I like to put a little bit of automation on the 1 floor tom so that it'll be in the left, so that we get the nice wide stereo image. So let me make that change here. Yep, that right there. Check that out again. Yeah, so you see how it kind of folded out there, and now it's in both speakers. Okay. So let's start at the beginning. Now, beginning is a relative term for the song. Like I said, this is the second part of a really long 30-minute song. So we're actually jumping in here at about this 7-minute mark. But this is the beginning of this part. Nice, yeah. So again, that's just the second section of a big song. Justin Pollitt says, this genre is called video game boss music, right? It's pretty epic. I could see it being a big monster theme. Absolutely, man. You hit the nail on the head. So again, this is the kind of the climax of the concept album. So a lot of the time when we were writing the entire piece, not just this section, but the entire 30-minute long song, that's exactly what we had in mind. Like the boss, the final boss of a video game. There are also lots of callbacks in this song to other songs from the album. So if it seems kind of a little jumpy, like suddenly we're in a totally different part, whoa, what happened? It's probably a callback to an earlier song on the album. So a lot of things that, of course, we need to do, and this is just the bass layer. We still have all the pianos and strings and stuff to add leads. There's actually quite a bit of synth in this song, too, that's not in there yet. So our first step, now that we've listened through everything and I didn't hear any general things that I wanted to change, I noticed a couple of things that I need to keep an eye on. The drums jumped up at one point to peak way higher than they should at any given point. So we need to try and keep an eye out for where that happens so we can determine what's doing it and fix it. We also need to take a closer look at all the different guitars. So of course, as per usual for our stuff and this album in particular, James and I both double tracked the rhythm guitars. So we got a James in the left and a James in the right, and a me in the left and a me in the right. And there are times where I'm playing a harmony to something that he's doing that we need to balance. Jet Sweep, much appreciated, man. Very much appreciated. Glad you like it. Let's continue to get this thing balanced. So I want to take another look at the drum track before we get really started on looking at those guitars. I want to see if we can figure out why the drum track peaked. At one point, this thing said -5.6, and I would prefer for it never to go above 7. So let's do a quick sweep of maybe the first half or a little bit more than the first half and see if we can determine where that peak happens so that we can fix it. Right there. That's weird because it didn't even sound that hard. It had to have been a snare drum. I'm guessing it's in this double hit. This right here that I've just highlighted, I think it's the first snare hit. So take a look at this again. So this highlighted track right here that's called Drum Master. See where it says that -5.6? Hopefully that's not too small. I'm not sure where you guys are watching this on, but I'm pretty sure it's this first snare of these two hits right here that's doing that. Yep, for sure. Okay, so we should be able to fix that by creating a little bit of volume automation right there and just turning that snare down. It doesn't need to be long. In fact, just grab this and pop it down. See, so we want about a dB and a half of reduction right there. Now, there is a compressor on this. I'm surprised that's not fixing this on its own. Okay, Jet Sweep says size is fine on mobile, I can see. Good. Glad to hear that. Thank you. So if we turn that down to -8, down from 6.5, that should fix it. So let's keep an eye on this number. Should hit like -7, probably 7.1. Perfect. Okay, so there's that problem solved, hopefully. We'll keep an eye on that and see if there's any other spots that peak above -7. Doesn't need to be perfect, but I like for it to hang around -7, generally speaking. Okay, so now we can turn our attention to those rhythm guitars. So two things. The first one's going to be fairly easy. Anytime that there is singing going on, I want to turn those rhythm guitars down just a hair, about half a decibel, just to give the vocals a little bit more room. Now, we don't have the vocals in the mix yet, but we can see, thanks to the ruler up here, where the verses and choruses are, and we can also scroll down here to the vocal tracks and see where they start. So right here, Jerry's going to sing some throughout verse 4, clear up until right over here. Let's see what's happening over here. Yeah, okay, I'm surprised I didn't list that as a break right there. So up to measure 244. So we want to use our marquee tool here to highlight all 4 rhythm guitar tracks, starting at the beginning of verse 4, coming all the way over here to measure 244. And 1 second, because I forgot to turn the grid on. There we go. And we're going to turn all the rhythm guitars down by half a decibel just for that. Again, just to give those vocals just a little bit more room in the mix. And we need to do this all throughout. So again, we've got more going on here in the chorus 2-1. So we're going to turn that down a little bit too. Break 6, and then we got verse 5. So let's see, when do the vocals start in verse 5? Yeah, pretty much immediately. So we'll do the same thing for verse 5. I think we got a lot of little spots in verse 5 as well that are going to need to be turned up or down. There's also a section here that definitely has no singing over it. Let's see if we can identify that. Looks like it stops at measure 303. Oh, that was a lucky guess. There we go. We've got a keyboard solo. Now, during guitar solos, I also usually bring the guitars down a bit to give the solos more room, just like with the vocals. And right now it is escaping me. I'm thinking that it's a dB and a half. I made a note of what I did in the other songs. Let's take a look so we can start from there. Yes, dB and a half during leads. Technically, there's a lead going on right here too, now that I'm thinking about it. I'm going to go ahead and preemptively turn that down for the lead, but I'm going to leave all those extra nodes just in case. Justin Pollitt says, I need to commission you to write a cool theme for the Table to TV podcast. Absolutely, man. I'd love to do that. Absolutely. Let's talk about that sometime. That'd be cool. All right, let's see what we got going on in verse 6. I'm pretty sure there's vocals all throughout verse 6. Yeah, except for here near the end. So I'd say we could probably turn him back up right there at 347. So we want to highlight all 4 rhythm guitar tracks up to 347. Turn that down by half a decibel, let those vocals breathe a little bit. Now, the Helpful Man scene does have a keyboard lead on top of it, but it's not the focus. It's not really a keyboard solo, so we don't really need to turn the rhythm guitars down for that part. Verse 7 should have vocals on it. Let's take a look at what's going on. It does, but they don't start right away. Okay, so we need to start halfway through that measure. Okay, and then last throughout that entire verse. So the guitars are going to go down by half a decibel literally right in time for those vocals to start, so that we don't necessarily hear them go down, we just hear more of what we're intended to hear. And then finally for chorus 2-2, I feel like we didn't necessarily get that right on. So we can actually do that a little bit there. Perfect. So that's going to give our vocals a little bit more space. Now we just need to go through the guitar track with a little bit more of a fine detailed eye and see if we can find any spots where I'm not playing the same thing as James so that we can make sure they're balanced. Right now, usually anytime I'm playing a harmony or something, I'm hearing it too loud. So let's identify. So like right there, it doesn't start right on there. Oh man, oh, we write such stupid stuff. Okay. Yeah. So right there, I start doing a fifth above what James is doing, and I'm just hearing it a little bit too much. So let's see what happens if we turn James up 2 decibels and me down 2 decibels. So we retain the same overall volume. Let's see what happens. Okay, not bad. I think it might have been, the harmony might have gone down a little too much, so let's reduce. James down a half. Me up a half. There. And right there as well, just for the da 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 da. So just for that last measure. It's essentially the same thing. There I went up an octave from what James is doing, and I'm just hearing it too much. So I'm going to try 2 decibels again. Him up by 2, me down by 2. Yeah, still felt like I heard it too much. So let's take him up another 1, and oh yeah, me down another 1. I always forget, Logic does not like -6. So we got to trick it into going to -6. There we go. Okay, I was happy with that balance, but I do feel like the rhythm guitars lost a little bit of volume overall. So let's try taking all of them up a little more. Okay, so same thing. That measure 211 right there, I went and jumped up an octave, or maybe even 2 octaves there. So we already know kind of generally, we took James up by 3 and me down by 3. So let's start with that. James up, me down. There we go. And then we did end up actually pulling both up by an extra decibel. So let's see if that's still necessary here. I think I want to hear that again. I think the overall volume was okay, but honestly, I think maybe that octave was still a little too loud. Yeah, I think I want to try another decibel of separation there. I don't hate it, but that that fancy little guitar thing is playing it up high is not the focus. Nice. Okay, and then it happens exactly the same in measure 219. So we should, theoretically, we should be able to put everything at the same volume we just did, which was James at positive 0.5 and me at negative 7.5. Justin Paulus says, I forgot to tell you I'm slowly migrating over to Apple for my editing. Going to start by using GarageBand because it seems simpler and I like the results people on YouTube get with it. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's good. If you can afford this stuff, I think this seems to be the gold standard for music production anymore is Mac stuff. And GarageBand is basically the little brother of Logic, which is what we're looking at right now. So it's a good starter, basically. You use GarageBand, and then by the time if you essentially decide to upgrade to Logic, you'll already have a pretty good idea of where to find stuff. So definitely a good idea. Okay, yes. No, I'm happy with the mix on all of that, but this is one of those points where, excuse me, you can see there's supposed to be a dead stop, and I want that to be a little tighter. So we can actually physically see, at least on this one track of James's, that there was a little bit of extra noise that kind of got in. So let's just go ahead and fix that now while we're looking at it. So what we're going to do is quite literally snip this track, put it almost up to the next one, and then we're going to put some fade outs and fade ins. Looks like we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. 1 second. Oh, weird. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Now, we don't want this to sound too surgical. So we still want this to sound natural despite the fact that it is a very definite cut. So let's take a listen to this really critically and make sure that this doesn't sound, well, we're wanting to come right up to that line, right? We want it to sound very clean, but we don't want it to sound like a digital cut. Okay, so I think we're very close, but I still did feel a little bit like it cut a little too unnaturally. So let's pull that out and listen again. Yeah, I can live with that. That sounds like it feasibly could have been done for real in real life. With the proper noise gate pedal, that would have worked. And I think there's a couple of other sections that are just like this. Yeah, almost exactly the same thing. Got a hair in my mouse. So again, we're going to basically do that same thing. We're going to cut out. And then we're going to do a really quick fade out and a really quick fade in on all 4 tracks so that we don't hear that cut. And let's make sure that doesn't sound too surgical. Okay, so there were a bunch of little stops in that riff, and just visually speaking, it looked like they could be cleaned up. But those go by so quick, I don't think that's really necessary. That might be overdoing it a little bit to cut all of those. Plus, it didn't really bother me. There wasn't any noise that I actually heard that I was like, ew, that's gross. You know what I mean? So no reason to take that out of there. We're basically just, if we were to go through and do that, we would be starting to make it sound a little inhuman, I think. Okay, so we got some harmony going on right here. Okay. Starts here. Not quite. There. And stops right there on 247. Actually, I need to remember that. I've been practicing this song recently, the big whole 30-minute thing. And I've actually been playing that wrong right there. This particular note right here is not a harmony, and I thought it was. That makes sense because it's actually been a little bit frustrating while I've been playing it because I keep thinking that harmony note doesn't sound right. Well, that's why, because on the recording I didn't play a harmony note. Okay, let's check this out. That's close. I think I want a little bit more separation. Let's try that. Okay, I think the mix between the two is perfect, but I did feel like it got a little bit quieter. So again, let's add another dB to both. Awesome. Okay, so another interesting note about this part of the song, this chorus 2-1, is actually going to have some clean guitars layered into it as well that need to take maybe equal or maybe a little less than equal focus. This is meant to be a little bit of a nicer part of the song here. So maybe I think I'm going to go ahead and take all four rhythm guitars down a little bit more in anticipation of adding in those clean guitars and getting them where they're going to be. Excuse me. Justin says, I'm going to be editing voiceover for now, but I might try to do a solo project away from Sweet Stage. I like Reaper for the most part, but sometimes it's not stable or consistent. Yeah, totally understand that. Totally understand that. It's always nice to, if you do a solo project, to know exactly what it is you're getting into and for the program you're using to work the way you expect it to work so that it's not getting in your way, right? You don't want to constantly have to be circumventing problems there. Spence 777. That's another name I do not recognize. So hello. Thank you for tuning in. He says, I love that you guys are going to play songs at full capacity. I can barely remember Overture on 2112. Hello. Yeah. You ain't kidding. I mean, there are no shortage of parts in 2112. Man. Yeah, and this stuff is a lot to remember. This album is almost 2 hours long from start to finish, and it's a lot. There's a lot of riffs to remember. Very easy to forget stuff. Okay, so let's continue on moving here. Okay, these hits, again, those stops in between, it is sort of bothering me that there's noises. Hold on. Okay, the middle one doesn't bother me, but this first one I keep hearing a noise, and also in this bigger gap right here I keep hearing a noise. So let's maybe fix that up just a little bit. Now again, we really want to toe the line on that. I don't want it to sound unnatural. I want it to sound like we were a little bit more careful than we really were. So the real answer to that would have been we should have been more careful when we tracked these guitar parts, to be fair. But we can fix it digitally without it sounding too weird, so why don't we? So whenever we make cuts like that, we always want to do a fade out and a fade in. Just make sure there's no hard pops or clicks when the track stops or starts. Justin says 2 hours. Wow, so dual CD release, then I take it. Yes, this will be a double disc album. And honestly, 2 hours is pretty generous. It's more like an hour and 40 minutes. So almost 2 hours. I like to say 2 hours because it sounds impressive. Okay, so let's check out those stops. I like it, but you know, if I'm being completely honest, now the second one bothers me a little bit. Hearing how clean the first and third one is, I kind of want the second one to be nice and clean like that too. Yeah, so that probably gives you guys an idea of why this has taken so long too. I mean, almost 2 hours worth of music, and again, it's not easy A B. Every verse is the same, every chorus is the same. It's not easy music. This is prog to the max, as it were. So not only is it close to 2 hours of music, but it's 2 hours of close to 2 hours of stuff changing constantly. Oh yes, okay, all right, awesome. So Spencer, that's commenting over on Twitch. From guitar lessons back in the day, I always enjoy popping in to see what you're up to. Very much appreciated, man. It's good to see your text anyway. Hope you're doing good. It's been a long, long time. I don't know if you can tell because it's been a long time, but the room that I'm in right now is the room that you took guitar lessons in. It looks a little different, but most of it's still the same. This is actually the same exact room. Good to hear from you, man. Okay, so we got a harmony starting right there. Justin Paula says Dream Theater would be proud. That's right, absolutely. I would be lying if I said that that wasn't my main influence when it comes to this style of music. Say it's fair to say that it's a pretty big influence on most of the other band members as well. Definitely Sam, James to an extent, for sure. We took a lot of hints from how they craft their music and use that as an inspiration to craft some of this. So I wouldn't say in any capacity that we're a Dream Theater copy. We are very different and certainly not as collectively talented. But they're definitely a big inspiration. How they do things and how they go about things, very interesting. Okay, I was trying to figure out where that harmony starts. It's right here on 289. So let's remember that number. Measure 289. When does it stop? Stops at 296. Okay, what did I say? 289? I think that's what I said. Somebody yell at me if that is not the number. 289 to 296. And again, as per usual, we need to take James up and me down. I want more melody, less harmony. That's close. I want a little bit more separation, not much. Let's do another half decibel of separation here. Oh, and of course that's going to mean that my guitar needs to go to 6. There we go. Trick Logic into doing 6. Spencer says, it looks a little different. I remember learning Detroit Rock City in that room. Good times. Yeah, absolutely. Man, that was a long time ago. That would have been what? I don't 2006 or 7, maybe a little later than that. Early or well, late 2000s, I guess. Would have been. That's crazy. It feels like a different lifetime. Okay, again, I'm good with the mix. I feel like we lost a little bit of volume overall though, so let's turn both guitars up a little bit more. Okay, yeah, I feel like this stops at a weird point. The pattern starts over at 302. Why have I turned the guitars down at 303? That must be when the vocals stopped. Let's move that. I feel like that's going to be awkward if we leave that there. Yeah, Justin says, things guitar players never say, turn my volume down. That's right. I don't know, I think I'm weird. I was recently, I want to say accused, but accused isn't really the right word for it. The local cover band that I've been playing with recently, Shot of Whiskey, the girl who started that band, Amanda, told me that I'm a quiet guitar player. she said it just kind of as a side note. I know you're a pretty quiet guitar player, and I was like, is that good? Is that a compliment? I assume that's a compliment. I don't like to crank my amp volume so that I can hear what everybody else is playing too. Is that weird? I don't know. Maybe it is. Okay, let's keep going. Nice. There's another little harmony there. Spencer says, yeah, probably around 2007. That makes sense. Quiet guitar players are usually better. Just go to any music store on a Saturday. Yeah, that you are not getting. I have definitely been in some guitar centers and the like where everybody in the entire room is trying to play either Crazy Train or Sweet Child of Mine, and it is a mess. It's got another harmony here, so let's... I seem to kind of default to 2 decibels of separation, so let's see if that's good. Yeah, I'd say that sounded pretty good, actually. Let's listen to that one more time. Yeah, okay. There was a stop in there that I want to investigate really quick. Another one of those where I'm kind of trying to determine whether or not we should cut it or not. I think it was right around here. Yeah, that one right there. There's not even any drums in the middle of it. It's just like not quite an entire beat's worth of pause, and I'm just hearing some weird little snippets in there. It's not a big deal. Let's try. Let's cut it, and if it sounds weird, we'll put it back. It's not awful, but I'd like to tighten it up a little. Yeah, I think I like that. Didn't sound too weird. Nice, yes. Oh, Spencer says the raking just makes that riff so much better. Absolutely, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, here's a helpful Mancini. Now I know this is a riff that happens 4 times in a row, and there are 2 different tails. So it goes tail 1, then tail 2, then tail 1, then tail 2. But both of the tails are in harmony. So the end of each one of these riffs we're going to need to mess with. So there's one. Looks like it doesn't start till the 8th note. Yes, okay. I like this riff. I was originally intending to put like a little lead over top of it, and Sam did. It was going to be like kind of a short little easy dual keyboard guitar lead. That again, it wouldn't have been the focus of the section because there's dialogue over this, but I ended up like, I like the riff too much. I want to play the riff, and also what Sam recorded here sounds fine without guitar on it also, so I'm just going to leave it that way. Okay, didn't mind the mix. Again, I feel like we lost a little bit of volume overall. Maybe a little bit too much. Let's draw it back a little. And there was the second one. So the same idea, just a little bit higher. So let's operate under the idea that this is going to be the same every time. So we'll take James up to -0.5 and me down to -4.5. That's what worked on tail number 1. Okay, Okay, and there's the repeat of tail number 1. So negative 0.5 and negative 4.5. Okay, and then finally the repeat of tail 2 on the last measure. There's really no reason that the same balance shouldn't work. So obviously there's a harmony over the second half of that. Now the volume it's at didn't bother me that much, but maybe we should. The harmony's still a little loud. We find where it starts here. Right there on 389. And then it goes for most of the rest of this verse, but not the entire thing. See if we can figure out it. It stops right around when Harry sings, which looks like that's 397. 397, right there. So let's not go too crazy. Let's just try 1 decibel of separation, because like I said, I already don't mind the volume that it's at. Okay, yeah. You know, just out of curiosity, let's try a little bit more and see what just see what it sounds like. Very nice. Okay, so I turned everything up a little bit there, but in retrospect, when it suddenly jumped back down, it felt like the guitars disappeared a little bit. So we want to bring that back down just a little bit. So we don't want it to get in the way of vocals. There is singing going on during that. Okay, so let's check out this last little chunk we have here, which is a chorus 2-2 is a callback to an earlier song. Jet Sweep says, gonna bounce in a sec since I'm traveling, but I'll be back one day with stream. Have fun. Much appreciated, Jet Sweep. Thanks for coming in. Good to hang out with you. Hope you enjoyed what you saw and listened to. Very much appreciated. Safe travels, man. Spencer says, got the Creeping Death Bridge vibes. Yeah, it does. That's for sure. I hadn't thought of that before, but you're right. Nice. So this one leads right into the next song. Because again, in our minds, it's all one big song. The whole second disc is one big 30-minute song. And this is just part 2. So part 3 begins just immediately right after that. With almost like a Master of Puppets-y kind of riff. Really neat riff. Okay, well I'm good with the guitars as they sit right at the moment. I think we've got all of that figured out. So let's continue working. So the next thing that we need to add in here is our clean guitars. So there's only one section of clean guitars. It's in that chorus 2-1 that we talked about a little bit earlier. As you can see, they are quite layered. So we got 8 guitars here. We got a clean for the left and a clean for the right. We've got a different tone called ballad. Let's just do a quick sweep of these. So the clean sound right? And then we've got a different clean tone called ballad. It's more like an 80s chorusy kind of thing. So obviously playing a harmony. Then we've got an acoustic simulator. So this is still an electric guitar, but through my Digitech RP500, it's got a really nice acoustic simulator on it. Oh yeah, played really well. Good job, me. And then finally a real acoustic guitar mic'd. I'm getting a lot of low end from that. I wonder... Yeah, we don't need all that low end. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, that'll help that pop out of the mix so much better. We should put that before the compression and do that on both. So all together then, we've got this sound. You can hear some headphones coming out there. And that all needs to go into this section where there are also distortion guitars and bass and drums and everything going. So because this is not 8 guitars all playing exactly the same thing, we should probably mix these in a little bit differently. So we're going to start with just the acoustic guitars. So we're going to listen to the track with the bass, the drums, and the distortion guitars, and we're going to bring those acoustic guitars in. In fact, I actually got a little bit of a mixer right here off camera, and I'm going to physically do that. So let's take a look here. So if you take a look down there at that one that's highlighted and the one next to it, so these two right here that are highlighted, you can see that I can move those. Yeah, just like that. So I'm going to bring them in slowly until they're sitting where I think they ought to. Yeah. I think I want to take the distortion guitars down a little bit more, if I'm being honest. I want this to be a much more mixed vibe right here. There we go. Justin says, I like how most of your music isn't all super down-tuned. I'm so tired of drop C. I know you got at least one song in drop C, but at least not all of it is. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. That's been a kind of a mission of mine for a long time. Same thing with when Right Way was active. Justin and I were both very much on the same page with that, kind of that Metallica idea of you don't need to be super down-tuned to be heavy. So all of AfterWinter's music is either in standard tuning but with a 7-string, and then we throw little bits of drop C in there just to have something different, not to be the same all the time, give us a little bit of a different feel on a guitar, causes you to write different things in a different way, all those sorts of things. But yeah, no, I completely agree. I very much enjoy standard tuning. Yeah, we're getting there. Okay, so now let's bring in the acoustic simulator, which is basically playing chords, but in a higher, oh, my brain deleted the word. Well, basically a higher octave, basically. Is definitely playing some different, oh, brain, come on. Inversions. Jeez, why did my brain just delete that word? Okay, let's listen here. Yep, I'm digging that. Okay, now let's bring in the regular clean. Yeah, the regular clean. So this is the part that's going da 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 da. That's at least a good starting point. I don't know if we'll leave that there. And then finally the ballad clean, which is playing a very similar thing, but essentially a harmony to that. Yeah, I'm digging that. Okay, one more thing in that regard, and maybe we'll change. Ooh, should the distortion rhythm guitars fade back into full volume rather than just suddenly being at full volume when that chorus is over? Take a listen to the end of this chorus again. Let's try it. It's going to be hard to say until the vocals are in there, but just over the course of that last measure, it would be entirely possible for the rhythm guitars to slowly come back up to full volume rather than just suddenly being at full volume. Yeah, I like that way better. I'm sad that I even debated that. I like that a lot. Oh, we just got a new follow from Yusuf. Very much appreciated, man. Thank you. I would also say your last name, but I am worried that I would absolutely butcher it. So it looks like Ahmed, maybe Yusuf. Either way, very much appreciated for the follow and the share. Hope you like what you're looking at. Spencer says I like the fade. Yeah, no, I agree. Definitely. Okay, and that's the only section of this particular song with clean guitar. So we'll continue rolling with that mix for now. As we get more and more stuff in there, that might change. We've got pianos to put in there. We got vocals to put in there. Lots of stuff. So that does it for the clean guitars, and we can actually get started on pianos. So we have 4 piano tracks in this song, and we have split it into left hand and right hand, and that's just so that we can EQ them a little bit differently. Sam likes to play, the full keyboard and do all the things. We just got to make sure that all his bass stuff doesn't get in the way of the bass guitar and the bass drum. So this album we recorded entirely with MIDI. So he did really play everything, but it was recorded as MIDI and then exported to audio. So he was able to play everything together for real, and then I was able to go back through and separate left hand from right hand to export them as separate tracks, if that makes sense. So we're going to start with a left hand track, which should be all bass notes. And again, these won't be very loud. So usually what he's doing with the left hand, not all the time, but usually is more supporting what's already there. It's not meant to be a focus. It's not meant to be super loud. Don't be surprised if you don't even hear what we're about to put in the song. This, a lot of times, and again, not every time, but a lot of times, what Sam does with the left hand, both in piano and strings, is something that you would notice was missing if it were muted, but you're also not specifically hearing it. So let's take a listen to what this little bit is. Yeah, so basically following the riff. Yeah, so support. Okay, how about this? Justin says there's a plug-in where you can use your guitar as MIDI and you can make it a keyboard. Yeah, I've seen stuff like that. There's actually special things that you can get for your guitar as well, like a special little pickup that goes underneath your strings that basically translates anything you play into MIDI and therefore makes it sound like a keyboard. I've seen those used live even. Uh, Actually, Dad had one for a little bit. I don't think we owned it, but maybe Bacharach had a guitar like that and let us borrow it for a little while. Dad, if you're watching yet, maybe you can, if you remember that, correct that story if that's wrong. But I remember it being really neat. Okay, so let's check out what this is. I like that. That's really neat. So he's just hitting low E's, usually on beat 2 of the measure. Da 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 da. That's cool. I like that. All right, let's see what else we got. Not too bad. It's mostly just following the riff there. And then I think this little section is the da 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 da. Not bad. I know he does that with his right hand too, so we'll be able to bring that part a little bit more out. Dad says, "Yeah, we borrowed it from Bacharach for a gig or two." Gotcha. I remember. I don't. You know what? I don't remember if I got to mess with it. I feel like I would have been kind of young, but I remember seeing it. Okay, we only got one little blurb on the next track, which is another left-hand track. So this is happening during that the chorus that we just mixed all those clean guitars into. Yeah, I like that. Half diminished 7 chord, anybody? Anybody? Music theory nerds, this particular chorus, the World Without Sen theme is what we've titled this, happens a few times during the end song, and this is its first appearance right here. And it does use that diminished chord in the middle there, and also interestingly, to probably nobody, but it's a half diminished 7 chord in this chorus, but every following chorus, every time this happens for the entire rest of the album, it's a full diminished chord instead. Weird. And that came down purely to me liking the fingering of the half diminished version for this chorus and then not for any of the others. So it's just a weird little blurb there. Also, I think the chorus changes keys pretty much every time it happens. So that's why the fingering ended up being different and therefore why it ended up being full diminished in other appearances. Okay, so now we're moving into piano right hand. Looks like we're still hanging out right around that clean chorus, but this happens a little bit before it. Okay, yeah, so it was a little quiet. We're talking about the... Let's push that a little. Nice. Okay, how about later on? This is during the fall callback, looks like. Nice. Okay. Here it is in verse 7. Not 100% sure what this is either. Oh. So that's a cool support, but I know there are other keyboard parts coming in that section that are a little more important than that one, so I don't mind turning it down. Also, this is the sort of thing you got to be mindful of. So Sam is playing along with the riff right there, but he's when the harmony starts, he continues the melody. So he's supporting what James is doing, which of course can then upset the balance of the harmony that we balanced earlier. So my harmony was balanced to just James's guitar. Now we add in Sam's piano, but I think we're okay. Again, we've turned it down to support just enough that it didn't really upset that balance. All right, now we have the pretty much the end here. So we're talking about the chorus 2-2 and break 7. So this should be the da 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 da, and then the chorus following that. Again, I know there's a string part coming for that chorus too, so I don't mind turning the actual piano down just a little bit. Okay, and our final piano track is the other right hand, the right hand 2. So there's a left hand 1 and a left hand 2, and then a right hand 1 and a right hand 2. So let's see. So okay, so this is the first thing we're doing here is the right hand for that clean chorus. Nice, yeah. Again, that should definitely be support. I remember Sam pointing out when he recorded that too that is the exact melody line, and I think it's even the same key and everything as the one of the guitar parts in Beast and the Harlot, the Avenged Sevenfold song. I remember him thinking that was funny, that this was a slow version of the chorus of Beast and the Harlot. And then it changes after that. It's pretty funny. All right, and then, okay, so this is a little bit more important for this part, I think. Is this what I think it is? Yeah, so we're back to the creeping death part, as Spencer put it. Now, interestingly, this is something that Sam decided to do over this part. So we eventually start playing that da 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 da, that exact same thing. But he wanted to put that under the part before it too, the da 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 da. So I think he did it with strings too. Yep, we can see it down here on the bass strings track, which is next. So we want it to be heard, but we need to be very careful that it doesn't step on everything else that's going on. So once we start doing that too, yeah, right there, I think it's a little loud. I liked the balance of it when we were doing something different, but as soon as the guitar started doing it also, it seemed a little too loud. Yeah, cool. Justin says, is right way stuff even fun for you anymore after this project? That is a really interesting question. Yes and no. It certainly doesn't hold my attention in the same way that this stuff does, but I still like that style too. You know what I mean? I think there's a time and place for complex music, and while I prefer complex music now, I still enjoy the more straightforward metal as well. You know what I mean? The more kind of Metallica-ish stuff that Right Way did still has kind of a special place. You know what I mean? I think those songs are really good. All the songs that we wrote back then, I really liked them then, liked them now. In the few times that I have had the opportunity to play that material in recent years, I've still enjoyed playing it for what it is. Doesn't scratch the same itch, but I do still really enjoy playing it. Some of that stuff is still extremely challenging in its own right, too. Dad says, the half diminished 7 chord is similar to the major 7 chord in that it gives a feeling of tension, of needing to be resolved, while the full diminished 7 is a versatile, rich sounding chord that can be resolved or lead you to the next chord. This is the real reason why we use 2 different diminished 7 chords, wink, wink. Yes, exactly. Right, yes. You hit the nail on the head. Yeah, absolutely. That's right. They do have very distinct tones. They're similar. The half diminished and the full diminished are similar, but distinct enough that I think it calls specifically for one or the other. You know what I mean? You can try one and it maybe won't work where the other one will. They're just enough different that it does that. Okay, so let's move into strings. So just like with the piano, we've separated left hand and right hand. So we're starting off with a bass strings track. Now this is the beginning of the song. Okay, I have a feeling I know what this is. Yeah, okay, yeah. I definitely don't want this to be very loud. Oh man, guys, I just realized that literally the entire time I've been streaming that I have not had a limiter on for you guys. I've totally meant to do that. Okay, well, if you guys are watching on any sort of actual stereo system, turn it down a little bit, because the music's about to get a lot louder than it was a second ago. It's not going to blow your speakers or anything, but if you happen to, for some reason, have this at a deafening volume, turn it down a little bit. So let's see what our next little blurb here is. definitely have to start being careful around this point of the mix. When we start adding in the strings especially, this is where our opportunity for things to get too muddy skyrockets. So we got to be really careful here that if I start really cranking this orchestra stuff, then suddenly everything else starts getting lost. All the other details are lost. So this, especially these bass strings, are almost just like the low piano we talked about earlier, almost always supporting. Something you would notice if it were muted, but not specifically here. All right, let's see what this is. Okay, and then now we have a bass strings doing the creeping death thing again. Right, so we want this to be kind of down under the song. This is a little bit more of something that you would hear, but again, not super loud. Okay, so yeah, very similarly to the piano, I felt like it was good until we also started doing that. Then it seemed too loud. So I'm going to turn the piano in that section down a little bit more than we had it. I'm going to turn the strings down a little bit more than what I just had it at too. And then when the guitars also start doing that, the guitars and the bass both start doing that, I'm going to turn the strings down some more. Nice. Okay, I turned the whole thing down just a little bit more as well too. I like it, but I want it to be just a little bit more in the background. Okay, it looks like we have one more little blurb here on the bass strings track. It's a little bit of suspenseful leading into the next section. Okay, and then on our other bass strings track, see what we got here. This is something that happens in verse 5. Okay, I know what this is. So this is just going to be a bunch of low E's. So probably not necessary to be that loud. Let's start it out at the same volume the other bass track is at. Yeah, so we've already got the low piano kind of taking care of something right there, so I don't think that needs to be super loud. Okay, and there's another little bit later on in the same verse. Nice. Our our not so subtle nod right there. Yeah, so that would be hard to really bring up. So the strings playing that. Da, 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 da. Nice. Okay, now let's move into high strings. So now we're in the right hand. This looks like we got something in the intro. And again, if this is what I think it is, then I don't want it to be super loud. That is not the right track. High strings. Yeah, definitely. That can be way in the background. Okay, and then the next bit is further into verse 4, looks like. Yep. By the way, that guitar riff that we just heard right there, da 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 da, one of the hardest riffs on this entire album to play. That is such a finger twister. Is there a better term for that? I'm thinking like tongue twister, except fingers. I don't know. It's when you see those memes on the internet of like weird looking jazz chords and everything. That's like kind of what you have to do with your fingers to play that riff. It is a very stupid riff. Okay, so we got another little string thing there that I turned down after that chorus was over. When you jump a little bit further into the verse. Okay. Again, just getting really that. I like that, but it's just, man, it starts to really get into the, ooh, this is getting muddy range right there. So I took a little bit of mid frequencies out, you might have seen right there. Let's try and get this string part present, but not taking up a huge amount of space. Okay, let's jump out to this and see what this is. Okay, yep. Got a couple of little blurbs out here. It looks like this is actually cut off a little. Yeah, there we go. Is that? Do we really have a whole track just for bah? Yep. Okay. And knowing Sam, he probably played that with like a cucumber or a pack of tartar sauce or something. Okay, we got one more little bit here at the very end. Okay, yeah, that is kind of low still. And what's this one? Really low. Okay. Okay, I think I actually want to take that down a little bit. I don't mind it where it is, but I know that there's a crescendoing French horn thing that happens right there too that I would rather hear if I had to pick between the two. All right, and now we have our other high strings track. So starting out in verse 4 here. Trying to balance the little bridge thing right there a little bit better. I mean, like the strings are, I don't mind them where they're at, but then it suddenly feels like everything drops out in that next chorus. So just trying to kind of find that balance line there. Okay, so now we've got several little bits here in verse 5, and I think I want to highlight these a little bit. So this should be that da 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 da, and this is just him following those high parts. Da 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 da. Nice. Yeah, I like that. I like that low piano in that so much too. It's almost like thunder or something. Da 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 da. Bow. This feels like this big impact. Okay, and then we've also got strings here near the end of the song for the chorus 2-2 there. Yep. Okay, now for our full brass. This is actually just French horns here at the end. I don't know why I opened up a track envelope. We're certainly not going to need volume automation on this. So I think I want to push this pretty well. Let's just start it at 0. That's probably too loud. But it's basically just over those C's at the very end that build up. Da, 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 and he just hit a right there. not too bad. Let's look at that. Okay, well that's part of the problem. Also, maybe we want to take out some mid-range. I do wish that it lasted a little longer. That was one thing. We really loved the crescendos. Maybe I'm not saying we, right? I really loved the crescendos. I assume Sam did as well. But you can't control. You could not control in the MIDI how long the crescendo lasted. So you notice the high ones stopped before the low ones. That was just something the computer did automatically. Yeah. Okay. We got a really messy end to this. There's lots of like little pops and clicks and stuff all over this ending. But keep in mind, again, this is going to be going right into the next song. So I don't think that that's going to be a big deal. I am going to try and soften it just a little bit so we're not getting nasty pops and clicks. But again, that shouldn't be a problem because this should be flowing directly into part 3. Okay, what is it the overheads? Yeah. That probably don't need to be reaching out that long. And also we could very easily extend that fade to much longer. Yeah. Okay. Want to hear those horns one more time? Is really weird. Let's try something here. This is a complete experiment. Maybe this won't work at all, but I really want where those highs stop. Yeah, like so right around in that area right there. I really want that to be the climax of this. So let's try just moving this. Is it weird if they don't start at the same time as everybody else? If we make them end where they're supposed to, does it sound weird that they don't start in the same spot as everybody else? Yeah, no, I wasn't bothered by that at all. We're going to fade those low ones right there. One more time. No, I think I much prefer that. I don't know about you guys. I think I much prefer them climaxing at the same time as everything else rather than starting at the same time as everything else. Okay, one more thing in the orchestra section, and that is a little bit of church choir, and I have no idea what this is. Let's see what these are. Oh. Interesting. All right. I like that right where it was at. I don't think it needed to be any louder, really. Didn't expect to see that there. I don't remember doing that. That's cool. Sam did most of this song, most of the big 30-minute long song in like a big 13-hour day. We came here at like, I don't know, 8 in the morning or something, and then we were here until almost 10 o'clock at night. It wasn't quite all the way up to, my memory says it was about a 13-hour day. Neither of us could even see straight, let alone think straight by the end. So there's definitely going to be parts in this big section that I don't remember, and probably he doesn't remember either. Okay, I'm going to start this from the beginning. You guys take a listen to this. I'm going to run and go to the bathroom real quick before we start on the synths. There's a few synths and then a guitar lead that we need to get in, and then we will see, because we are far too late into the story of the album to mix vocals on stream. We will absolutely immediately be giving away integral plot points that we don't want out to the public yet. So we won't be doing any vocals on stream today, but we do have some more instruments we're going to get in. So take a listen so far while I run out to the bathroom, and if there are any glaring, obvious yucks, somebody yell at me in the comments. All right? Yeah, liking it. Liking it. Okay, let's do a couple more things here. I did just get the "Hey, come get us" text, so just a couple more little bits here. This is a really neat part that I've been looking forward to adding in here too. So we played around a lot with synths, Sam and I, when we were doing this, looking for different ones that sounded cool and worked. And I think this is the only spot on the album that we ended up using this. Um, the setting was literally called Poke a Monster Synth, which is why it's called that here. I don't need that cue in there anymore. And it sounds like a Game Boy. It's such a cool little sound. Check this out. So it's like a Game Boy or the original NES or something. So this is one of the spots on the album where he's following what Dad's doing on the bass. So I love it. It's such a cool little thing. So again, this needs to be support. I would be very tempted to push this up to be in the front, but there are vocals on top of this. And this is primarily a bass part, so we don't want it to step on anything. So let's bring it down and then kind of bring it up until it feels right. But this isn't going to be as upfront as maybe we would be tempted to put it. We got to make sure this isn't stepping on the toes of the bass or the vocals. Okay, wow. Okay, so at the very end of that, I didn't expect to need automation on this, but at the end of that, that actually started to really get in the way. Yeah. He should have gone down. Dad jumped down an octave for that measure, and Sam did not catch that at the time. So let's grab those and pull that down a bit. Yeah, so you can still kind of tell something's going on, but you're not hearing the pitches specifically in that last measure. Okay. Let's do these last three synths all at once so that I can get out of here before she gets mad at me. So one is a lead that's happening behind something vocally that then the vocals stop and the lead continues, and then we just straight up have an actual keyboard solo directly after that. Yeah, not too bad. There's a couple of things that I want to give a look at. So try taking some mid-range out of that. And then, of course, we're going to need to turn it down at the end when it hits that big high note. And then let's roll back and listen to this, the kind of dual lead there. You know what? We're probably going to need volume automation on both of these because there's vocals over it and then the vocals stop. So we want the second half to be louder than the first half. Let's try that. Not bad, yeah. Nice. Okay. Whoops. All right, I think we got everything but the vocals sitting pretty well in this. So, good job. Good job on us there. We are coming along. So hopefully next week we will be back. I actually have a little bit of free time on Wednesday evenings now, so I've been considering doing some streaming on Wednesday evenings. I'm thinking that there's a pretty good chance that sometime soon, Kiss Meets the Podcast is going to be back to regular shows, and that will probably take the Friday night spot. Because that's usually when we were both free back in the day. So fairly, at some point, I'm not sure when, but fairly soon, Kiss Meets the Podcast is going to be back on Friday nights. And in that case, we will probably move streaming, working on this to Wednesday nights. We'll keep you guys updated as soon as we know that for sure. Either way, we are coming very close to being done with this album. And I also have another project that is very close to being done that I haven't streamed any of at all. So depending on what we're doing, maybe next time we'll stream a little bit of that too. We're at the mixing stage in that one too. But since that's not a concept, we will actually be able to mix vocals on stream without that being a problem. Okay, so... Gotcha. Okay. Yep. I think I'm going to go ahead and get off of here, guys. So you know the drill by now. Thank you so much if you are watching right now, if you were watching earlier, of course, and if you're watching this in the future when it's not live. In any of those cases, thanks so much for clicking on this. I hope you enjoy what you're looking at. Hope you enjoyed this little peek into AfterWinter's debut album, Paramnesia, and the making of. And if you are excited for the release of this album, trust me, you are not alone. We are very, very ready to get this thing out so that we can start working on the next thing. So, yes, lots and lots of stuff going on, and we will be streaming whatever we got going on. Yes, Spencer, thanks. Thanks for popping in. He said, thanks for having me, Luke. No problem, man. Again, very good to hear from you. Glad we got to chat a little bit. It's been a long time. So, good to hear from you, and hope I run into you sometime soon somewhere. It'd be good to see you, too. I think I saw you just got married or something. Is that right? Or maybe I'm a little late on the uptake on that. In any case, congratulations. Right on, man. Okay, well, I will catch you guys another time, probably next Friday. Probably next Friday about the same time, between 7:30 and 8 or so. We should be back working on something, if not this. So don't forget to check it out. See if you can catch us. Maybe even keep an eye out on Wednesday. Maybe we'll do something on Wednesday, too. We'll figure that out. All right. See you guys later. Thanks one more time.